야야 당가도 먼저 남주 직대 주제사지로 와. 그때 사업소시라 제고 회사에서 와. 너도 영어대와 요러망 직대 주제 내용도 와.
Some of you heard the concept of 8 worldly dharmas. And a lot of these jealousy and problems that we have coming through the 8 worldly dharma.
아니 배나 녀바 쇼나가와 마주나 먹어왔어. 대땡아도 대대까지 열어왔어. 녀바로 식다 녀바로 와. 아니 무슨 아니 땀 녀보지 수족거나 아니 데려가 오셔. 양식 소소거래 땀도 줘달라나 데려 먹어 오셔. 아니 지 소소지 대외 탐로 오셔나 가와. 가초죠. 양식 소소가는 못 나와셔. 아니 소소라 지미지지 돌아나와도 나 데가 오셔. 양식 미지지 야부 메라다나 아니 먹어 오셔. 어때다. 아니 야부쇼라시 먹어 오셔라시 지네. 아니 이제 주제에서 그래서. 아니 다 남조지 추가래지 제와이나야 다 대원다 먼저 와다 시당에 추바 멤버는 남주 미코랑 시가 아니 지 녀바 또 녀바 되는 녀다와 아니 지 담녀 못 되는 녀다와 또 소소 대화 되는 녀와 아니 소소 지 레가로잖아 미셴베가 말이지 돌아다녀나 지 두제실 나왔던 저기 되는 녀 되잖아 아니 지까지나 메디지 전도 보면 와도 대오면 차그래서 그때 진짜 주바주고 그냥 말아왔어.
So the 8 worldly dharmas usually involve you get excited when you gain something, then you get depressed when you lose something, then when you gain pleasure. When you experience pleasure or something nice, you're happy, and then you're not happy when you didn't get the pleasure or something pleasant. And then also is involved when you hear a beautiful word or something pleasant word, you're happy. When you hear something unpleasant, you get depressed. And then also when you're praised, you get excited. When you're criticized, you're a little bit down. So these are the kind of 8 worldly dharmas. And for the Dharma practitioners, they are not useful at all. And we should really avoid being influenced by the 8 worldly dharmas. Even for the non-religious practitioners, even for the non-practitioners. And if you really go after pursuing these 8 worldly dharmas, it's sometimes really creates a lot of problem and pain. And so you see generally people who are really obsessed with the fame, obsessed with compliment. Usually they're the one who end up with more troubles and more unpleasant experiences. And that's where this is something we should really avoid, and we shouldn't be under the influence of these 8 worldly dharmas.
Pena ngando shutogo legando chewaina susu semla ngelekadina kondongala gawo chigeri kondongala ya ta mindela toratanga tendewo susu semla te sambachi ani pajowe tende torada matawana susu sempe shomra doas tang ngallega taatche ngakale taatjavena kondongala ya mindela tuji cholla masen kozu samnatere ma shomra batende momoyongdo wa te yongade susu pa tamborewa japsha boas So Ravana chi mandava the Mores. Then Namju Tesota Marasuchi. Kaduina, Rojo Chekish.
So those of us who engage in community services, and it's really important that we do not engage, or our motivation is determined by the compliment, by praise that we gain out of this service. If you do that, then the problem is sometimes you think you did a great job and you're expecting some kind of compliment and a praise by other people. But then when they didn't deliver that compliment, and then you become really depressed, and your inspiration and motivation is easily affected by somebody else's judgment or compliment. And now you realized that this is not the most effective way of engaging in services. And therefore, we advise people not to be influenced by this kind of a motivation when you engage in social services.
tuji ya bochong song se labore kono te ti rewa ko jabdo ngando tremba chene ko che mando ka da ka tremba chene majo na ko shuma pe kondo sane ka ngando magawa te chigdo se kana koran ka rewa yochi ngando te ta chene majo da ko so se bijo koran rewa te mena koran te kondo sa ga yo marawas.
I mean, this really one reason that we shouldn't engage in services or helping because we're thinking this will be a good name for me, this will be a good reputation and a good compliment. If you go with this kind of a motivation, then it's really problematic, and because you create some kind of expectation in that services, and when your expectation is not met, then you easily become frustrated or disappointed. We had this experience at our center, and there was a volunteer who was helping us with a lot of our services, and then we forgot actually to thank him, to acknowledge that services in the public, and the person was expecting that we will acknowledge his or her services in the public, and we forgot that. We didn't do that deliberately. It was simply that we forgot mention his or her name, and that had a really traumatic experience on that person, because the person put so much expectation, built so much expectation in that, and when that didn't delivered, and the person became really kind of disappointed with us.
Therefore, usually the Dharma centers all voluntary. Right? Therefore, the voluntary also, I'm just mentioning, not looking for thank you for them. Someone said thank you. You also thank you for this great opportunity for me serve the Dharma. This for me, that thank you for them to give me the opportunity to do this. If you feel that, it's very great for you. Also, this is really your, serve the center. You get a lot of merit. Therefore, this is public place. A lot happen. Maybe family said that doesn't match. Maybe my mother said I'm just thank you. Maybe my father said thank you. Not like that. The public place. Therefore, eight worldly, eight Dharma worldly or eight worldly Dharma.
Eight worldly dharmas?
Yeah. And worldly dharmas are very bad. The one time then Geshe Tenley, he was a retreat. Then one of his sponsors coming to see him. And usually maybe he's not very organized person, Then he thought, tomorrow my sponsors are coming to see me. Then I want to nice. Then he put things more clean. Then he put very nice altar, put the water bowls, because his sponsor come in. Then for him, then he sit down. He check. Wait a minute. What's my motivation? My motivation not I'm offering for the Buddha. My motivation is so my looking for my sponsor's face. Then he said, oh, I'm completely wrong. Then he bring the dust. They put there. During that day, the place, they say, he's the best practitioner. Then also one time, then they say, he hid the Garu. Jiti chujing wala tela shusung si. Jiti ngata drum tembe ngonda tron pem musibega.
아디 소니도 롬데
룸도 말에 단다 쟁에대 지더라고.
디르게 기지 뱅군 게
배고지라고.
소니디
송에대 룸데베. 다 데린 거네 전에 다 룸반데 나라야. 기심 뭐 거잖아고. 아니 가로 냠내 버칭이 좀 마서 슬라비들 좀 그랬어.
So the Geshe Ben Kungel, when he threw that dust on the offerings, because he realized that his motivation wasn't pure, he was just doing that to please his patron and sponsor. And then the Dromdamba, a highly realized practitioner, he realized what happened. And then Dromdamba told to his disciple, today born the most great practitioner of Geshe Belkundgen, he threw dust at the 8 worldly dharmas.
There was one time Buddha's time, the one king has very strong ego, or he is the best person. Then he advised for Buddha and all the Buddha's first support, serve the lunch. Then he think, Buddha think he's the very good generosity person. Buddha knew that. Then he had very wrong views, Then the
At the lower valley of the region.
The one beggar, he's looking, see, today the king offering the Buddha statue was a lunch. Oh, he's very grateful, he did very great matter, he very enjoy. Then the Shariputra asked him to Buddha, who's better, is king or he give the lunch, he's better merit, or the person just, he don't do anything, he just thinking, enjoy, he get more merit, he said, he get more merit. Because he's very pure, his motivation, enjoy for the king doing that. The king has, different thought, he said. I'm the people see I'm the better person, I'm the best person. I advise for Buddhas for lunch offering. But he didn't get merit. The best merit is the person to beggar, because their motivation. Okay? Like that, therefore, now here they talk about praise.
Here, yes, the person was talking about the praise, the compliment.
Can
you please read 97 and 98?
Therefore, the happiness that arises from thinking, I am being praised, is thus incorrect. It is only the behavior of the childish. Praise and the like distract me, and also destroy my disillusionment. I start to envy those who have excellent qualities, and success is destroyed.
다들 굽지 걸리대가 가르나 아니 젠지 달아 또비 따 또봐요 다 주 야보 놀아요 되게 또봐 되게 받쳐봐야나 되는 님보 개가요 말해서 되게 개편도 말해서 저랑 비 야보라고 대담 개편도 말해서 되는데 다 저랑 대회 다는 또도시 랑가와 깨져봐 대한테다 mentepe 시비쇼 바코나세 다들 저랑 보고 삼다 나제려 와서 오늘 전에 저는 그 메디기 저는 야보도 라바든지 저는 야보 차려다 베게 두잘 저는 두쪽 차려야 맞대 저는 보고 시와 나셔야 해서
In the verse 97, therefore you shouldn't really get excited or get moved by the compliment and the praise of others delivered to you. This is because they do not serve for any purposes. And when people compliment you, that wouldn't make you a better person. When people criticize you, that wouldn't make you a worse person. So if you look at very carefully, the function of that kind of a praise and compliment is none. And therefore, you would be considered as a childish if you're totally kind of obsessed with the compliment and the praise and so on.
어디지? 다 겁제대가 대소다가 이월시 되는지와 지바시에나. 다 미기 지랑 돌아도 왔다마네. 지랑 그샘 tel라야네. 지랑 tel라 미바 파차네. 아니 수수 아니 코알라. 아니 파 깨와당. 아니 수수지지 챈듯이 얘네가 파 매도와. 어떤 너그래서
No.
Well, and the Tamani, ye did the land Trado go put over Jibashi. They must take Kirang Puzu Pachu, Tora Tamateni, Kirangalan Trado Jenny, and the Kiranga Gigi. Yende the mission Trado Pachene, that Milana Chow Yabrana, Tanga Yabush with something, Cochero, Tekene, and it's Suzuki and Puzuba Sanji Komoto, Jeshatan and Yamro sandwich.
And on the other hand, when you are attached to compliment and praise and so on, this will really drag you further into the depth of samsara. This is because by really mistakenly thinking the praise and the compliments are good, you become attached to them. And because of that, you become arrogant, you become a self-centered person. And when you feel that way, and then you would lose the good qualities that you have been working on toward attaining enlightenment. And so as you continue to become attached to a compliment and a praise, it's really kind of declines your other qualities for enlightenment. As a result, this actually praise is hurting you. It's kind of making you confused. What is correct thing for you to have. And because of that, I can see that attaching to compliment and praise is really destructive for your Dharma practices.
That's correct. If someone says you're a very good person, then we say, oh, really, I'm the good one. Right? Just even if he doesn't say that, we thought our mind. Someone says, oh, you're the better, you're the good person, you do a very good job. Then we think, oh, I think people think I'm the good person. Then you develop some more ego.
Your ego would increase.
Right? This is correct, right? Then if you have this ego, then also you doesn't look the dance. You say, oh, you're just baby, I'm just prayer one. Then also they say you lose the opportunity to practice you. Right? Then you like some normal person, you have nothing to ego, then you just try to your own practice. But someone say, even though, this is, His Holiness mentioned one time, his teaching time. Even he gives examples of monastery, the teachers. The monastery teachers, like first they come, they're not teachers, they're just regular monk. They come to monastery, they study, then they will look very good learners. Then they have more study in some students. Then everyone say, oh, he's a very scholar. Then all the monasteries say, oh, he's a very scholar. Then the teachers say, oh, like he developed more
arrogancy.
Right? This is the truth, Some for us also, just regular person, we have not like that. Then everyone say, oh, he's good, she's good, everyone looking like that. Then we have something different feeling, right? Therefore, always, it's very important to keep our ego pull it down. The 8 verses mind training.
8 verses of mind training.
8 verses of mind training say, Kanda Sudan Rivit, Danyakala, Mentashi, Jella, Sabatabai, Choda Chip and Zama Show, say, so yours. Teresa, the Super Mezibega, Yamni Chimbo. Manzo Chi Yamni Chivala, Inji Minji Kazo. Get a chimbo in Yagawato, Shunchi, get a chimitago in Mateli, Sotra Mobusho Layer.
If you look at the 8 verses of mind training, in the second verse, it talks about when I'm with others, I should treat them more important than myself. I put them before me, and so on. And these are such powerful verses and practices. And when you really hear this teaching, then you really find out that there are really great masters, people who are composing and practicing this. I sometimes feel that at a monastery, at those great monasteries, while we are so kind of busy studying these great tenets, and the philosophical traditions, sometimes we leave these important practices aside. And so that's now I realized it's not correct. We need to combine the practices and the studying.
Okay? Like that. All that. The judging on the same, but I think the Shijametro. Teacher dog, Tesuna, Gigi Kanda Yeneva, Teda Dana, and Sondo, Thomas Fisher, Schumann, Teda, Susola Turatatic. One is Susan Yansol by Tito with us, that Tenado said, Chana Yansol by Tito with us, Karna, Chanamitora Tata, and Charangi, Jalan, Trado Marandova, Naja Marandova, Susuchego, Lojo Macho, I think Chana, Pemba Pasha, and Yansol by Tito with us.
Then the verse 99 is saying that if we look very carefully at the effect of a compliment and a praise, instead of it's helping us to lead a better life and a better future, when we really become attached to the praise and compliment, it drags us down to further the lower realms by making us more arrogant, more attached, and eventually, more jealous. And therefore, this compliment is, if you really think carefully, and it's really harmful to you in long term.
Okay. Can
you please read 100 and 101?
102 left here.
And 102.
I who seek freedom do not need to be bound by material gain or honor. So why should I be angry with those who free me from this bondage? Why should I be angry at the very doors that do not let me in, which are like Buddhas bestowing blessings to those who wish to enter the chamber of suffering, saying, this hinders my merit. With him too it is incorrect to be angry. If there is no fortitude similar to patience, should I not abide in that?
Okay, Tati Tambotica, Tobasola, Tobato Shibala, Keshabade, Subala to be Tavres, Trono, Teresa, Tobasho Majo, Tobash, Tobashola, Keshabala, Troy Mares. Tamboti, Pena, Ne, China, Muchana Tobashana, Ne can Chana Tobashava, Ne Kangushavina. Tangi Chana Pentores. Muchana Tobata Rawayana. Any Chana Majet Jamorova. Ni Chana Tobata Ram Marawayana. Take Chana and Koala Tujala Pengre said.
Tobacani,
Kanye the Penochimbores.
Pinch water.
Oh, Chana Tobacani, the Chana Penchimbores.
Doesn't control quantify, Maris.
Oh, going to Corsa Maris. Down and draw a tenny bed. So. Nan koala trawatening here. Not carrying, but non koala trawatening here, Mato Tewatening in my Tenza, Nebana Kudi Kajana, non koala Chivachi and koala pa. Got a matter of chickens.
Lawless. Verse 100, basically, the Shantideva is telling the person that instead of getting angry at other people who are preventing you from getting praise, you should really be grateful to these. For example, if Jennifer is giving me compliments and I'm getting more arrogant and more childish, then somebody else comes saying, Jennifer, don't do that. He doesn't deserve it. And then usually I'll get angry at that person. I'll get angry at the third person saying, why are you stopping her to give me compliments? That's the way of the normal world. And Shantideva said, no. You should feel grateful to that person stopping Jennifer to compliment me, because he's really helping you to free from that attachment to compliment and so on. And by doing that, the person is preventing you from falling into much lower realms and other consequences. And because of that, in essence, when others are affecting your reputation, do you remember at the earlier stage, we get angry at other people who are jeopardizing our reputation. And Shantideva is saying you should feel grateful to these people who are maybe creating rumors and creating problems with your reputation, because they're really helping you to not get attached to a compliment.
Okay? 어디 다 자다 직대가 다는 등가는 죽은들라 산지지는 신럽신 모통 공부라 얘기해봐 teladaana chetando ose da dungaji kambala jubala sanjiji shinji la parajende dungaji kamba motobi da sozo pa kaji ngesola chendo ngendo dunga njono do ane sanjiji shinjala ne tate matawe chi shinji karo zoba gomsa ga yer kaji sozola magawa chingete toshawana tere ta ko tela kaji chonto yin zendo
no that is what kiran 다 민다 텐델야 네버기냐 미데야 마가바 마치
다들 마가바 마치
그 그냥 냐르네 도에네 거기
네데 가기요레스 뭐네셔는 산제 콜레 트바테네 코치 트샤와선도 잡으레스 저랑 대전에는 저랑 야서 저랑 그때 왔잖아 되는 저랑 대 저도 저 인가서 제로니가레스 산제가 직전에야 저랑 대 깡고 치게 되셔다 아니 인가서 고 깡게 되게 잘 오는데 그 펜도 좀 버렸대 코노사에 말했어
then in verse 101 Shantideva was telling the person, you should really feel so fortunate and feel blessed that there are people who are stopping you from getting compliments, and people who are creating problem with your reputation, or who are disputing your reputation, because they're like a Buddha Shakyamuni who manifested as a guardian of the hell and stopping you from falling into that really dangerous ground. And these people who are stopping you from gaining these compliments, and is actually saving you from a lot of further trouble. So like you feel so blessed that Buddha appeared in form of some manifestation and stopping you from falling into dangerous ground, you should also feel the same way to these people who are creating, problems. Who are creating problem meaning that when someone's really kind of giving you a lot of compliments, and then somebody making this as a controversial, and we usually get very angry at that person. But for the Dharma practitioners, this is something good. Something good happened to you now. And so you should consider that as a bless in disguise.
근데 가제 따뜻 딴 거더라. 대말 다 가자니들라도 말말 자치민이 되가 말말 나 손은 그 속사와라 그거 계시거든. 대가 코로 사게 들어.
손은 소살 바제
그 바지 책에도 대가 코르나 다 될라. 나 좋아. 드란디 나 손은 그잖아. 너는 손은 계시지. 대란 저 머리때. 저랑 손은 게 머리나. 전수가도 요마이나 대라도 가자. 손은 그 소사와라 저발 야요 말했어. 다저 손은 그 소사와라 계시게도 저 코로 사야 돼. 저랑 손은 가리 소사가서.
And now, then is like the debate start here. We talked about the debates during the lunchtime. And here, the person is debating Shantideva. He said, "Wait a minute. That person is creating controversial about my reputation, and as a result, it hinders my practice. It hinders my engaging in collecting merits. And how shouldn't I, challenge that?" And then Shantideva, that's a debate. He challenged Shantideva, and Shantideva responds to him saying, "That's not true. You still shouldn't get angry at that person. You know why? If you really wanted to engage in the practice of merit collection, the best way to do is to practice patience. You cannot generate more merit than merit by practicing patience. And therefore, but if you, on the other hand, get angry at the person, your merits will diminish. And so you should practice patience, and this will be even better. And so no excuses for you to get angry at that person."
That debate, I think you guys like to debate a lot. But I'm not so Michigan Toya de Michigan Suja, Michigan Toya and Zuing course. Michigan Suja and Zuing course. The day is that Penata Takabodovena and the Takabo de Kansareda and the Suris and Chodu Lankajas. Takao de Takao era Takao. Tam Commodore. Takao de Sure the Kazan Judo Kalagas. A Tambo Kitoida. Judo Takao de Sure the Kazan Judo Kalagas.
And so we maybe do a little bit of a debating here, just for your practice. In the debates, we usually first we define the definition of each term, each concept. You have to define the concept. So when we think about a vision or sight, the vision, how we really define what is a vision, saying for vision, there has to be a form to be viewed. You cannot have a vision without any form. And so when you think about a vision, you immediately come to your mind as a form that you view. And so that's how we establish the concept. And then the opponent will ask you, saying, okay, let's say a white horse. Do you think that is a physical form or is a
Animal.
Is a white horse is a physical form or is a person or in a sentient being?
Animal, yeah.
Or animal? Okay. If the white horse is a shape,
form,
a form
or
animal, and how would you respond to that?
What you guys say? You said animal. Are you going to follow him? Form.
They're not contradictory. Form and animal are not contradictory.
Really?
Well, an animal is a kind of form. Right?
This is a big debate, you know.
This is how we start. You answer a question and then he will, contradict you. To challenge you to come up with more reason. So what's your name? Everett.
Those are what?
That's it.
That Charangi Tango. Chara Casa to Sugi Chitishang that perde. And Suk said Charangi Pena Kansak Suji or Kansak Pumbo, Tangasum Penang Pumbo. Nepumbo and Araves. So,
you said the animal and the form doesn't contradict each other. That's what you said. If that is the case, then my body, is this self or my body, are the same?
Is the self and the body the same? No.
No, right?
Not the same.
다 가사가 수다 가사 집어 말아왔어. 직 말아왔어. 집어 말해서 가사 수디 가사 말아왔어. 가사도 가사 수 말아왔어.
And yes, the form and that person is a separate. The self is self. The form and the self is separate. That's what you said, right? The form, the body, and the self. You said they're separate.
No, they're dependent.
근데 찍찍 때는 지금 저는 찍찍이래라 요 말하거든요. 그 찍찍 때에다 거래서는 다 빼도 거다 두로 그러서.
And if that is the case, then before you kind of met the implication that the self and form is same, because you said they don't contradict each other. If they're same, then how? If they're same and a single unit, how they depend each other? When you depend each other, you need more than two.
맞대로마서. 저런 게 건이 땐단 바인자 건이 집발라나? 이거 말아왔어.
지금 말했어. 그래서 니 거봐 땐데면서는 니 어디서?
니 어디 집발 맞지? 나 건이 집발 가와 많이 미진세. 건이 땐단 바래서라고 왔어. 대리빠 뺀 노르다.
금제?
집대 노르스.
금제 그래서네.
다 땐단 바인 받더니 집발 자기나. 배나. 부대 보모래왜? 보모도 버려왜? 보모니 땐단 바래 왔어. 보모 여발드는 버샤와. 버여발도 보모자. 지금은 찍샤식 말아.
뒤도 잠바.
간지. 다 저런 게 강사다 강사가 손이 집발랑도. 야 인데 땐단 말했어. 다 두지 데려. 다 땐단 바 옛나 아니 가르다 콘이 찍찍 인거 버려 봤나. 다 대도도 데려.
And
be too long. You all tell.
It's going to be a very long one, but basically, I said is the self and the form are the same, and you kind of vaguely said they do not contradict to each other, and then you went on to say they're dependent to each other, and that's what you stated, and so if that means that to depend on each other, do they have to be same, or do they have to be always complement to each other? To depend each other, do they have to be complement each other or not? Do they have to be same, or do they have to have a common nature?
They don't have to have a common nature, but you can't have a self without a form. You can't have a self arise unless it's arising in dependence on something.
파주 개와 당국이요 말이지. 또 그나마 추주도.
투대시.
또 그나서 좀 그래서는 다
갑대
강사죠 봐.
강사면은 소리하다고 말살.
제 그나마 디스와도 인지미지 강사 콜을 쑥과 말이지. 쑥매가 강사 열었던 시에도.
얘도 열아. 대다 가가는데 같이 가다다 다들 가다도 소리면다. 당가도 소매가 가다 열어 봐.
Yes. Then we went back to the original when I said the self and the form are same, and you kind of said they depend on each other. But now you are implying that the self and the form is separate. Of course, they're separate. You can have a self without form. Sungmi kansa, the formless self. So they're separate. So my original question was the white horse. Is it a self or is it a form, the white horse?
Is it a self?
Or is a form? A white horse. When you see a white horse, you see a self or you see a form?
I see a form.
Then, if the white horse is not is a form, you said, that means then it's not a horse, right?
Okay.
Well, the label of the horse is dependent upon first identifying the parts of the horse. There's the format of the debate.
It is difficult. It is like logic. The debate logic. You have to think so many things. They make you a lot of confused. You go. You go. Very deep. Sorry.
There's no horse without a mind.
Yeah. Sorry, Karso.
Sim maybe that you matters.
Sim maybe that you matter. Teza. Sim maybe that means that about the Taina Kaza Chan was.
And so yes, if the white horse is the self, and separate from self, then it wouldn't be a white horse. And then they get back to you again saying, is the horse self or not?
But another body, our body is not ours, right? Therefore, horse's body is not horse. The white horse body is not horse. It's the same. But you have to think about it, it's very difficult. Sometimes the nomads, the yak doesn't eat the grass. When you debate Lord, they very, we call it sharp. Someone's very sharp, they can debate you. Sometimes say, I'm not eating the food. Sometimes say, I never saw my mom, like that, you have to say, there's some logically, it's very hard. The logic is something, the luck, lawyer. The lawyers also have a lot of debate, right? The very Tibetan called, we call Dura, Regulum Trijidemi. The Ripa Goching, anyway.
The logic is the key or the entrance to reasoning. And we have a very basic text, the entrance to the reasoning, a magic door or something, that's the title of the book. And that book was prepared by Pujo Yunzin Rinpoche, a tutor. Especially, they designed this for the 13th Dalai Lama. There is this very primary textbook of reasoning. And that textbook was compiled by the tutor of the 13th Dalai Lama to teach reasoning to the 13th Dalai Lama. And because he really have to work hard. And then later, all the monasteries adopted it as a monastery text.
Like that, it's very not easy, you know. Even like this paper. This paper is what? Eye consciousness, mixing sujar da lishing rejas na.
Touch,
Touch the chick mixing.
What you call this, like a vision?
Eye consciousness, vision.
Eye consciousness, right? So, is the paper a touchable or is the visual? And then they challenge you. Whatever you say, they still get
like example,
your statement.
Is it soft or is it rough? If you have to touch, the eye conscious cannot judge, right? But if without eye consciousness, see, also we cannot judge, right? Now, which one this we have to take? Is this eye consciousness or this is a body consciousness? See, there are a lot of debates. Like this water. Is water, you know, what we have to taste, right? But do we see water? We say, I don't see water, usually. Because water is not the eye consciousness. Water is the taste. Like there's too many things, you know. They make you like something not make sense, then too complicated, you know. Like the tailor, you know, there's tailor, right? Who saw the tailor?
Tyler.
The tailor. Did the tailor see that this, you know, the reading 통계를 봤어요. reading 오늘 전에 다 리식 레자로 왔어. 잘라 줘야 돼. 리식 레자로 와. 근데 미식 소인다 그 통계는 공 말했어. 근데 또 뭐 చేయ야랬어.
So basically, you know, doing this kind of logic is you're really investigating where your experience is coming from. Where, how do you define a phenomena? Is it based on your experience of touching, or based on your sight, or is it both? And through that, they try to establish the reality that you hold. Because if you look at a cloth, and we say, does the tailor sees the cloth when he's sewing? Right? If he, you know, sees the entire cloth, then he wouldn't be paying attention and very specific. And then the debater would say he doesn't see the cloth; he only sees what he's sewing. So does he know what he's sewing at the moment he's doing that? So what we do is basically a lot of the experiences that we have and the conclusions that we make out of them. You know, there's so much assumption. And our experience is really full of assumptions. And because we based assumption, you know, half right, half wrong. And that causes us a lot of problem, confusion, because we assume something's bad, and when we do that, it's wrong. It wasn't. And so this kind of debating is challenging your assumption. When you see a horse, they ask you, do you see a white horse or you see a horse? Right? And then you say, I see a white horse. Then what does white horse, how do you define the white in that? Is the white is part of the horse, or is the horse part of the white? So they really challenge your assumption.
Okay,
so that's what the Tibetan debate is about. Eventually you use that for your text and experience of the Dharma.
Example there, when you go to monasteries, they debate all the time. The monks find all the debate. You get that debate to the refuge. They all know refuge. They all memorize the definition of refuge. But still they can debate. Because you say something because the another person doesn't agree. They different understand. They debate, you know. It is really analytical meditation. You debate, then you find out really, oh, this is really. Otherwise, someone say, oh, Chinese food is very good. You never eat. Someone says, no, Chinese food is terrible. India food is very good. Then you say, oh, maybe India's food is good. Because you don't eat both. Right? Because you really want to eat the Chinese food, they say, yes, I have experience. Because you really know, not just someone told you. You really experience the Chinese food is very good. Right? Different, how you store your suzu calendar temp than chiwa was. So when hakoena, suzu calendar tempo. When hakomena, Makadojin and Delano, or table matters. A cadeno, what the devil, so Kaluraluk Shasamak Chano. Lisa and the little meditation package, Morris.
And so debate is a really important part of the analytical meditation. It's basically challenging on your assumption and testing your knowledge. And they're making sure that what you hold as the view or the truth is not just like an intellectual basis, but you really understood at a very depth level. So to take the example of taking refuge. And if I ask someone, say, how do you take refuge? I just recite, this is how you. And then they really challenge you one by one, make sure that you really understood what is refuge about by challenging every statement you make and make you or force you to prove it. And so that's the function of the debate, really making sure that people are not just like reading and reciting from the text, but they really had a much deeper understanding about the subject.
Example, there are a lot of details. Example, now the Westerns, the Lord says, I'm the Buddhism. If you're really Buddhism, you have to take refuge. You need to take refuge ceremony like that. But some people have said, yesterday, before I come here, we have the conference for Buddhism at Harvard. Then they say, now a lot of people say, I'm the Buddhism, but they have not idea. What's the definition of your Buddhism? Therefore, you really, your Buddhism or not Buddhism is that you have the quality of the definition of Buddhism. Therefore, its quality is that you take a refuge. Then many people study very hard Buddhism, but you are no Buddhism. Namba yola injimji jambu domba shur, jambu domba go ro. Then kada de lagdo, me mambo shiga, namba yin lagdo, na jambu domba, karizna chin hamo gider mambo legdo, stri la desha. Then two chin pa shibjai chin ro yina, pe shibjai chin ro. Then da nachu chena namba yin kumare. Namba yina inji jambu domba lango, then shiva yore.
And so this debating, and let's use the example of taking refuge, is really clarifying your views and establishing your really belief and so on. For example, without any scrutiny, and people just take things for granted. And a lot of the Western people say, I'm a Buddhist. Why? Because I studied Buddhism. And then the debaters will challenge you, saying, by just studying Buddhism, will that make you a Buddhist? And they really challenge you. And then eventually we know that studying Buddhism doesn't make us a Buddhist. As part of the, becoming Buddhist, we take a refuge in 3 jewels. And then we, study Buddhism. And so people, like a challenge is saying, are you Buddhist? Yes, I am a Buddhist. Why are you a Buddhist? Because I studied Buddhism. Then they say, by studying Buddhism, does that make you a Buddhist? And they say, yes. Okay, then let's say, I'm just adding one sentence here. And let's say a Christian scholar who's studying Buddhist, will he be considered a Buddhist? Because you said studying Buddhism makes you a Buddhist. He said, no. Because he didn't take a refuge. Oh, now, not only studying Buddhism, you also have to take a refuge. That's how they establish the entire picture of any subject. And nothing is left for assumption and guessing. That's what Geshe was saying.
It's very hard to, the Western you have to debate. Very hard to, they're also not enough the vocabulary. Some of the technical terms of the debate in Tibetan
it's really harder to translate into English because this whole thing, the structure is the entire vocabulary, and it's so condensed. Some of the vocabulary is so condensed that it has, have the meaning of the upper and the lower part, and you cannot simply replace that with an English word.
Okay, now Tandalaso, that cool us, Sonum Sa Kashing into a collapse on us. Tadian, good cousin Palaja. Charan Sonum Sa Kashing and watching the Komar that the Charanji Kondo that does. The Charan nature is that good Jimisum Latin was. Kate Dag Rachunji, Della Zopra Majena, Suzo Majena, Sunum Jishi, Yeneba, Telakaji, just says. Charangi, and Karukondola Zoba Majavayana, and Karo, Kancharangela, Sonum Tokiva Majungi, the Charanji Kondo the race, and the Charan Dragon the terrace, Pachua the Marisra.
And so here, Shantideva used the same kind of approach, a form of debate, really convincing the person that he was wrong to get angry under whatever circumstances. Even the person is saying, well, I'm getting angry at the person because that person is stopping me from attaining enlightenment by means of not letting me generate merit. And the Shantideva used that logic and going back to him again, saying, you are wrong again. Because if you really wanted to attain enlightenment, first of all, you should get rid of your anger. Would you agree that or not? Then he has to say yes, right? Okay, if you wanted to get rid of your anger, you have to practice patience. Would you agree or not? He said yes. If you agree to practice patience, you shouldn't get angry. Would you agree or not? So he goes by these steps, really overcomes the other people's assumption. And so Shantideva concludes here, saying, if you get angry at other people thinking they're stopping you from generating merit, if you think about it carefully, he's debating back, he's saying, it's absurd, because how can you generate merit with anger? They're generating anger, generating merit and being in anger is totally contradict each other. They cannot stay they cannot spontaneously be together or be present. He has to choose one. And the Shantideva is saying you have to choose practicing patience. Through that, you can only generate merit. And so that's the a system of debate the Shantideva is using here.
Can
you please read 3, 4, 5, 103, 104, 105?
If by my own fault I am not patient with this, then it is only I myself hindering involvement in the cause of merit. If without it something does not occur, and if with it it does come to be, then since this would be the cause of it, how can I call it a hindrance? A beggar who came at the time was not a hindrance to generosity, and I cannot say that those who give ordination are hindrances to becoming ordained.
We haven't read number 103, have we? That's familiar. How far did we read?
Okay, that's good. Yeah.
Okay, so but he didn't explain you 103, 104. Did he explain you 104? No.
Not yet. Ta Shiva Dila, Ta Chirangi Davoda, Chirangi Zovenyamani, Chigmana Chimaju, Generes, Ketchimboshara race.
So without continuing again.
Get a Mariso. Chigmana Chinjong Marero, Kanshi Kame Manjala, Kanshi Kame Manjalana. Davote Sozola Karota, Korolang, Davo Kanshi Mena, and Suzujella Tela Zobagum Zovat and Jomares.
Kondo da Sobani Chiki danger there.
Mano Korolang the Koroso Koromata. Pick Korolang is Jero. Shangi Kondo da Suzuji Zobani Tentamares. Jenji Kondo the man, Suzujella Zevinyam with the Jomares. Kanshi Kame Kaman, Kanshi Kame Manjula. 강아시 요나기 요저바 대니티 디에 제다들한 거 봐자 지요나 진지와달라 빼나 아마도 분이잖아 아마 맨날 보면 저거 보면 아마 요거 말 아마 따고 말어 대대 집어지 잘해 들려다 저거도 지난 공도 여기 냠네 야 공배다야겠다 이 약속들에 해서
So the verse 104 in English translation is a little bit of a confusing because they use it all the time. So I asked Geshe where this each it goes to. And Geshe said, going back to our previous debater also mentioned, your practice of patience and the other person's kind of annoyance or the the irritation is dependent on each other. Your practice is only progressed when you met with that anger or the angry person, and therefore without that angry person you cannot achieve your patience, the practice of the patience, because they're dependent on each other.
Okay, that is what 아마도 보니 찔리지 때 말이었어. 지금은 진종고 말아왔어. 어때도 집어냈어.
And yes, the provocation or the person who provokes you and your practice of patience is dependent on each other. Just like a mother and a son. And they're kind of the concept of a mother and a son is depending on each other because there is a son. The mother of that mother is called mother. And because she is referred as a mother because she gave birth to a son or a daughter. And likewise, this is also dependent on origination.
수수 짐바 땅에서 짐바 땅사가 롱어와데 수수 짐바 땅에 개 말해 와서 짐바 땅가 짐바 땅으로 와. 내 짐바 땅사가 유지로 와. 땡기 짐바 땅에 개 말해 와서. 대대직. 아니 랍도 슝이잖아. 나 랍도 슝이나 랍도 슝 나랍도 슝없지. 슝사가 될 라마당 개모도 저런 랍도 슝개 말해 와서.
랍도 슝개
말해 딱 텔레네가 찡 말해 와서. 개 말해 와서.
개 말해 와서. 기랑게 짐바담이 있는 짐바담서 담문이 기랑게
개 말해. 짐바담서 개 말해. 그러나 코 요할때 저런 짐바담라고 왔어. 다 저런 랍도 슝이나 랍도 저런 슝중인 개모도 로메도 저런 개 말해 왔어.
제.
저도 초그래 왔어. 데려다 저런 거 다티 지나라야.
짐바담
가로 저거 초그래서 이 고고다듯이.
And then Shantideva is, going further in this debate. He's saying, when you practice generosity, and you wouldn't consider the beggars as your obstacle, would you? He said no. And when you take a vow, a vow, you wouldn't consider the person who's giving you vow as your obstacle, would you? He said no. Likewise, the person who's provoking you, person who's making you angry, is not your obstacle, because you're practicing patience and that person there for you. So that's how the logic, is built.
뭐지? 다 죽더니냐 들어서.
Can you please read 6 and 7?
There are indeed beggars in this world, but rare are those who inflict harm. If I have not harmed others, few beings will cause me harm. Therefore, just like a treasure appearing in my house, idly without me accomplishing it, I should be happy at the enemy, for he assists me in my deeds and enlightenment.
들어와. 근데다 진백의 신 방고도 꼼바레스. 저백의 신 아니 다트 마와레스. 그래서 간제 다가서 근데 방법 영화도 소설라야. 딱까지 침보레스야노. 가지고 고급 상보레스야노. 시선도.
진배 단신도 꼼보레스.
꼼보레스.
가지는 꼼.
근데 지텔라.
방법 열어.
방금 뭐한데 가늘하게 가시. 가지 지텔라 신비진데서 꼼보레스. 단다 대래 근데 저백시디 망아요레스. 망아요레스. 다시 다 거기서 제 매우 계제도 말아. 가지 콘도랑에도 롱원이도 반이다 콘도랑에도 망아이라 가지는 콘도사되게로 와. 되네직 차이게로 와. maybe catch my bachi.
No.
And the Tenzin Tanda Zurich and Karo
Mangi.
Mayo, Kiran, the Kokop Sambolo was.
So 106, it's saying that like if you wanted to practice the generosity, there are plenty of beggars. You can easily practice your generosity. But then if you wanted to practice patience, there are few like a helper. And that's where you should appreciate the people who's provoking you, because you have to practice your patience. But the opportunity is not that many. Compared with the practicing patience, you can give money to, there's so many beggars. But then quite rare provokers, upon which you have to take the opportunity, appreciate it, and practice your patience.
Yenari, Jimbegi Yenari, Kajitini, Kokop Shawati, Kiran La Pemizimbe, Shanchi, Sanji, Shanchi, Trokshepa, and the Pemit Yapocha, Daka, Dalagawashat, and so the dog Lagawachi.
And therefore, these people who are provoking you and making you angry, is in fact really helping you to attain enlightenment. They become the very very valuable treasure, because they're really facilitating you. They're helping you to facilitate your practices, and therefore you should really, instead of getting angry at them, you should be grateful. You should feel fortunate that these people are there and helping me to practice my patience. Can you read 108 and 9, please?
Because I am able to practice this, he is worthy of being the very first to be given the fruit of my patience, for in this way he is the cause of it. Objection: why should this enemy be venerated, since he has no intention for me to practice patience? Response: then why venerate the sacred Dharma that is a fit cause for practice?
어제 다자도 제대로 간지 잔다 다기 좀네 디저트를 내버려야지. 아니 다 잔디 걸을 때는 아니 수주 산제 콤바토 버레 대저윙 내버려. 대라다 토마네 단다 발간지 저거 고미가 제토데 다 다차데레 살로시.
저대 소부 광부레스.
나한테 소부 광부레 단데 치바단데 마 치바치바레 셔게.
다우다우로 동안. 108 is because I'm able to practice being the first to give him the fruit of my patience in this way he is so yes, and this enemy, thanks to him, I'm able to practice patience, and at least then he deserves my patience, not my anger.
다 자제대야 코코 거들 말말 그 자오들랑 갈 저외가 냠네 테고서 삼색해요 말 날 펜도치고 삼바요 말에 왔어요 이나스 코카데치 대나치랑 그 추거죠 고대도 저랑 펜도 말에 왔어 셈요 말에 왔어 저랑 콘셈바요 말에 왔어 저랑 펜도치고 삼바요 말에 왔어
then the person challenges Shantideva's view, going back to the intention. And he said, objection, why should I treat this enemy with a grace and feel grateful? Because he didn't have the intention to help me to practice patience. He wasn't doing this on purpose or purposely. And then Shantideva said, wait a minute, if you do everything based on intention and purposes, why should you take refuge in Dharma or Dharmakaya? Because the Dharma is not there to help you. The Dharma didn't have the intention to help you, but you still hold that as a really sacred. If you just go by intentions, it doesn't make sense for you to say, I take refuge in Dharma, because Dharma didn't have intention to liberate you. So does it make sense for you? And that's how, he get back logically.
Okay. Now can we tea time? Come on, say. What do you want? You want 10 minutes? 15 minutes
break.
Okay, 15 minutes.
We resume at 3:30.
Okay, now we do a little question and answers. You have any questions? You can talk the question, yes?
My question is say, somebody treats you badly, and you're supposed to look upon it from the point of view of it's your karma that caused the person to treat you badly, but then the person is so the way you provoked them to be that way. But my question is, then isn't that person also generating bad karma for themselves? So I'm just kind of...
Can you repeat the question?
Say you're in a situation and somebody is mean to you, and you look upon it from the point of view of this is that you're experiencing this because it's your own bad karma that the person is behaving that way towards you. But then that person, when they're behaving badly towards you, is generating negative karma for themselves while they're doing it. So, my question is, how does that, can Geshe just explain that a little bit more?
Sure. 그런 다 뒤에서 미시행게 나야 다 너비게가 겁이었어. 아니 지기 나라도 네비 텐데게고 군제디 단 고무질 뒤순서 나란조 교환님을 내사 내게 버사치제 아니 다디고 레드 데브디 미임 거레스 기실라 순서 다디데 제데야 미코 급 디두자마 랑야 춘네버 체고 왕게 양코에 동행량 봤어 내게 버사 서울로 봤어 디인도도 텐데가니 아니 근데 삼당 그랬어 나 지기 데브디 양베 뒤에서 야디코 레사 서버 봐 근데 상담
대사 대치나라 다르스 그 소소래 바지 바조와디 콘로사와이나 에나 텔콜 랭에 마사기 요래 들어 다 콘로 마사와치도 수수 저와 검샤바나 그 콘로도 마사야 팽이래 콘로야 베르마르와 팽이래 근데 소소로 콘로 마사 이걸 팽이 요래 봤어 야수도 저와 검바들에서 근데 소소는 바코로다 팽이데 콘로야 양판도 그래 봤어.
The question was in the beginning of the text, the Shantideva said the reason that we go through suffering because other people done harm against us is because of our past karma. Okay, maybe that is the case. Then how about the other person who is now creating a karma, a negative karma, and by inflicting harm on me? And so how should we take that? Geshe-la's answer was that you got it correct, that what you just mentioned, we are really experiencing the fruit of our negative karma when we go through suffering by means of others inflicting harm on us. That's no doubt about it. You're right, at the same time, that person is also creating negative karma now by inflicting harm to us, and they have to experience the consequences. And so if we were in this kind of situation, the best really approach to deal with that situation is to practice patience. You know why? Number one, by practicing patience, you would take advantage of that moment, really to practice patience and purify your negative deeds and so on. At the same time, by practicing patience against that person, you are really helping that person not to go further, not to trigger more emotions, and not to increase the negative deeds. So, you are merely by practicing patience, you are accomplishing two important things. You're really helping yourself, you're helping the other person. And so that's where, in that kind of circumstances, the practice of patience is the most valuable and the most practical even way of helping that person. And Geshe-la said, if on the other hand, if you really get back to that person with a negative emotion, the person would also go much deeper emotion and inflict more harm to that person by getting really angry. And you're really not doing any favor to that person. Therefore, practicing patience is like a compassion. You're really helping the person.
For example, we say, if you are wound here, it's really hard to really hurt you. You put a little bit of salt here, the more hurt, right? The person really get angry and happy, then you also try to something, opposite for him to talk or show that. then they get more angry. Therefore, that time you also try to not angry, try to make for peaceful for him. If someone say, okay, you fall there, you say that. If you say, no, I'm not fault this, you fault, then more argument. If you say, you just keep quiet, just do other things. Then we calm down, then you can explain. If you say that, but it's not really true. Because the other person also really calm down, easy to understand. Like that, you have to try to very skillful. Always try to, we are not the creator, the person to another person's negative karma. It's very important. Do you understand? For we are the person to making other people angry, then we are the person to making other people create negative karma. The object. Mundo. Pachowe nyumu karo ta kondro na yagi. Jesu kada mundu. Jana ngara sojing yapu marwa.
If we are responding to that person's anger with more anger, then we caused him or her more anger. As a result, we are again accumulating more negative deeds. And so the best solution is to practice patience. Then you will stop. That's like a vicious cycle. You can stop that vicious cycle here.
마시 몸배왕 건데 시war받다 당고네 삼 tunida 스직 직파 담보니 네버팅이 요 말was 담보 미시 온 거지 계셔시니지 아니 근데 컨트롤사 아니 안 봐요 여러분 담보는 가도 다치스 지며
So most effective way of helping that person is to practice compassion geared toward that person. We can start doing, for example, that person got out of control and inflicting harm to me because he initially out of confusion, perhaps he didn't know the whole situation, or that person is under the influence of affliction and out of control. By thinking as such, and you will be able to develop compassion. And sometimes when people are really angry at us for no reasons, initially it could be just a matter of few words, like a use of a few words inappropriately, and then that kind of triggers anger, and then it gets bigger and bigger, and then that's where we say out of confusion, because it's not really a big deal, but the person's making such a big deal because he's confused, he's not able to really grasp the situation well, and thinking that way you can practice compassion at that person.
Okay? Then? Yes?
So we all take the subway from time to time, and there's physical conflict for space on a continual basis. How is it skillful to identify one's boundaries without violating another person's boundaries in a way that's compassionate?
삼로 예배가 딱 말하는 사슴으로 이거 최제 약속 그들했어.
Try to go fast. No there. Not let. Yeah, I don't know. This is basically that kind of situation. Maybe you go to just maybe 20 minutes. You can get the seat place. Not just I'm like that. Just this is just my basic, just my opinion. Just go in. Then if there's some space you can sit. If not, just stay there. Then you can just look. There's someone get up. You can just.
Did you go to one of them? They are lying. They hang the part together. Two together.
Maybe good that's exercise. And this, usually If you practice way, it's no big deal. Even someone hit you, someone punch you, it's nothing lost. And just be patient, just ignorant, then you don't care. If you say, oh, this guy is hitting me, or she's going to touch me, then you're more uncomfortable. Just you put body you there, just put there, whatever, then you're not comfortable, also more comfortable, because no one bother you. I think it depends on your mind. You see your mind, you don't want, touch anyone, you don't want hit anyone, then you looks everyone like, like cheating you, more difficult. Just your body, just put there. I think this may be better, than no. Like that, maybe don't think it too much. Or maybe he's coming close to me, maybe she's coming close to me, not like that. Just relax. I think so.
I just wanted to repeat the question for the recording purposes. The question was that a lot of us ride subways. And so in the subways, it's usually crowded, and then people, like push each other, touch each other. And so what is the best way of creating a boundary without really going over the practice of patience? Is that right?
Then still someone going to just looking to push you, then just punish. No, don't punish you. The big tower. I think that depends on your mind. If your mind is to bother, then they bother a lot. If your mind doesn't care, maybe they don't care. They don't bother much. Okay? Yeah?
I would like just comment when I had the same problem many years ago, and I started to study Buddhism. The phrase that all sentient beings by mothers help me greatly. I just, the moment when I feel like I became angry or lack of space, I immediately thought, if this is my mother, would I, stand from her or just try to help you to stay more comfortable? And this helped me.
Help me. I have to repeat it for the recording purpose. I was told, is that right? So we had a comment or maybe contribution here was saying that the practicing thinking every sentient being as my own mother is very helpful to these practices, because when there's a seed and you're really struggling to get there first, and then if the other person gets it and you obviously feel frustrated, and then you start practicing thinking, what if this person is my mother? How would I feel taking up that seed? You wouldn't really feel angry or disappointed, and saying, so that practice was very helpful. 그런데서 저는 아주 마시인스 얘기봐. 마시의 편도로 쉬고도 다시 구비야 합도게가 주고 봐. 두두자마 지금 미안다지 년 쉬어져 구비야라는 당고에 대해서 먹기 비고 봐. 너 그런 거 어디 말에 심지어 탐정을 게 다 파마치면 이거 요 말에 걔들 니에츠디 아마 이메를 니 사람 가르던 그래서 나 가비 모르 아니 아마 그게 돼. 한 딘데 something 좀 그런 셈 기분 주고도 제가 지금 아주 마시인스인데 딘데 간 사람단 좀 편도도 있어.
That's correct. That's very good. Yeah, this is a real practitioner. You some situation time think about that. That shows you're really practitioner. Then I really always mention people. Everything is very calm down. I say I'm going to practice patience. Maybe not. The patient is really some situation. Then you patient is correct. But in this country, the people respect each other a lot. If they don't rush that place, really. Like Tibet and India, the people go some bus. They've taught to put fast there, front there, taught to the back. Look here, and looks people not much touch there. I don't know, maybe a little far away.
야갈야 두고원지량 아주 침으로 봐. 저저잠바 디 군조 운용무진데 디스여도 아직 그래 라와지 좀. 운용무직 되네 수다 직 파든 거. 다디 쩨도 변마보도 다 손주나 야 저저잠바 미진에 비가기도 벽 가서 저거 소주도 당 아주 저거에 가지면서 딘데절 때 운용매잖아 파디가단지 배 저거도 추도 망굴래서. 디 마체빈데 배 남사 저걸 수스로 뭐 결론에 시주비가 다니는 거야. 대하게 또 운용이 통구에 비가기도 구셔는 이유죠.
Brother.
Yeah,
he mentioned when he was in India, his own culture session. when they make fan for the bamboos. Bamboos you cut very, very sharp, right? But like this. Then there are many lot of people push
toward the fence, and that sharp, sometimes goes to people's stomach. And so me and a few friends, because we have an elderly monk, and so every morning we go to take him toward the stage. And then we saw this lot of people pushing, so we were basically stuck there hours every morning pushing people away from that sharp edge of the fence. And because people, Tibetans, it's amazing that they, so we had like 4 people sitting near this fence, and we're pushing people away from that sharp edge. Like maybe, I don't know, but we felt that that's necessary, or somebody's going to get really bad injury.
Yeah, in India, some teaching don't like that. People crowd, they push, just one set. But everything's maybe not serious. One time watching the DC, he's going to give the Karachaka session. They're going to give the Kushak grass. The Tibetan, even they hear the Tibetan. They don't follow the rules. They just run. The person, the organizer, very scared. They call all the police.
The person never been to India, never experienced that. So when everyone jumped on her.
Jumped, very scared. They just run there.
Throw the pusher grass and screaming.
Yeah.
I was there.
Yeah, you're there?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so they have to call police and take the people away.
Yeah.
I mean, she was, like a graduate student, volunteer, distributing the pusher.
It's very funny, It's India, they don't care, just here, just. Like that. Anyway, okay. Any other questions? Okay, then now we can go here. Now we go to the faster, okay? I'm not going to stop. 당간도 쇼로가 자데 쭉쭉쭉 냠도록 쇼로와.
Can you read 110 and 11, please?
Objection. Since he intends to cause me harm, he is not to be venerated. Response. If, like a doctor, someone strives to benefit me, then how can I practice patience? Thus, since patience is produced in dependence upon a very hateful mind, he is a cause of patience, whereby he is worthy of veneration, just like the sacred Dharma.
좋아. 다 대가는 당보도 가는 나는 잘 안 내와시면 삼바이어로 왔어. 아니 단다 죽건 좀 괜히 계절이야. 팬도 내와시면 삼바면 코테는 라고 말했나? 아니 내와시면 삼바면 저런 저밖에 말다. 빼나 멤베기. 저런 파 뚝게 지나 저런라. 내와시면 삼바면 저런 멤버들이 저밖에 깨면 도왔어. 멤버 암주로. 어떤 로라셔.
네. 싫어 보면서 연결.
잔데 그로 같이 잔데 너시비 삼미요 삼바요와인자 주자막 다들랑 내가 지금 무슨 삼바요자 말아야 내가 콜다 빠시 소치 좀 넣으스 삼바요레스 딜랍지 딜랍죠 말스 아니 지나라야 내가 지금 삼바요와이나 아니 멤버들 지나는 거는잖아 또 같이게로 와 이나 콜라 내가 지금 삼바 멤버들 지나는 멤버라 저 지금 넣었어 저변냠이 멤버들 용보다 그거는 멤버 또 자게로 왔어
저변냠이
그래서 Radhikari chama dukko.
We before mentioned that the person is not intending to harm you, and all this intention related, and so that person told Shantideva saying objection, and someone he's really trying to harm me. He has an intention to inflict harm on me, and therefore I cannot practice patience to him. That's crazy. And then Shantideva said, that's not true, because you really need someone to harm you in order to really make a meaningful practice of the patience. Okay, what then are you going to practice your patience against a doctor who was inflicting, cuts to heal? Of course, that practice of the patient wouldn't be meaningful, knowing that he was doing that, not for your own sake. And so you have to find someone who's genuinely trying to harm you, so that you can practice patience. And there aren't that many opportunities. There aren't that many harmers, for example. there to volunteer to harm you intentionally. So those few, the individuals who try to harm you, they're really precious, and therefore you should be grateful and shouldn't get angry at them.
다 주지대가 대외라도 당선을 때내 줘봐 개회나 대내 줘বে 제임be 담배 주셔도 봐지. 그러나 대내가 라오대 샘키랑 마강에 칭해대 들라드네 줘봐 개게다 대내 줘বে 제다 다 대나 담배 주셔도 되고 그래서.
And moreover, because that person's harm and that person's infliction on us, we will engage the practice of the patience. And thanks to their infliction, we really gain the practice of the patience. And because of that, if you really look back carefully, how did I become a successful practitioner of the patience? If you think about how I become a good practitioner of a patience, and you have to go back to that person too, because without that person's contribution, you wouldn't be where you are. And therefore, you have to be grateful and really respect to that individual, like you worship Buddha Dharma. And you also have to really treat that person with great respect. 112 and 13, please.
Therefore the Muni taught, the field of sentient beings and the so-called field of victors, many who have pleased them have thereby reached perfection. A Buddha's qualities are accomplished from sentient beings and the victors alike. So what kind of system is it that I do not respect sentient beings in the same way I respect the victors?
다 줄로가 쭉직이 중리대가 대신 샘신 시다나 예비신시 대회송 대단 거자 몸보지 대답은 바로 쉬는 아니 샘신다 아니 상지 도약이 신이 받아 상지 좀 되고 송샤요래 해서 하는 거죠.
심지어도 상계 도약이 신.
신 손은 거 소사의 신이 상지 송요래 해서 하는 거죠. 대중이지.
No. So the 112 basically saying the Buddha taught that the field of the sentient beings is a great source for our enlightenment, because thanks to them we attain enlightenment.
다 주지도 샘전 좋습니다. 샘전한다 자와라. 다 네가 상제도 샘전녀가 상제 고마토야랑 가서 펜토체 좀 찍바래 해서 된다. 도도돼.
And then the 113 Shantideva further explained that the quality of the Buddhas and the quality of the sentient beings are almost like the same.
No, 퀄리티 말다. 퀄리티는 가려 연대로.
누가?
이번에. 나도 펜토. 나도 상제 토야라 펜토데 상제 가서 상제 토야 펜토 시와다 샘전 가서 샘제 상제 토 펜토 찍바요 그래서.
The Shantideva was clarifying to that person that for our enlightenment, the contribution of the Buddhas and the contribution of the sentient beings almost equal. We need to rely on both to attain enlightenment. And there's no differences in terms of the contributions the sentient beings and the Buddhas making to us.
Okay, 들으더라. 샘전은 자와래 상제 주는 자와라. 자라 기지 선절라 기지. 되네다. 이제 그렇지마다 나도 상제라 샤워선 저거 야볼랑도 샘전라 가지네 코도 가오치 메레스.
And therefore, now we see that both the sentient beings and the Buddha field, they really for us have the same effect in terms of our enlightenment. And because of this reality, we have to treat them equally. We have to treat them well equally because they both have the same effect on us in terms of our enlightenment.
다들 주시대 다 주기도 도바라 다들 도바라 다 되네 나오는서 다 주셔 정아 주룩좀 럭셔라.
Can you please read 14, 15, and 16?
They are not similar in the excellent qualities of their intentions, but in the results. Sentient beings also have excellent qualities, and they are therefore equal. Whatever veneration of one with a loving mind is the greatness of sentient beings. Whatever merit of faith in the Buddhas is the greatness of Buddhas. Therefore, they are asserted to be equal in the share they have in establishing a Buddha's qualities. They are not equal with the Buddhas who are boundless oceans of excellence.
다 내가 삼배 연때는 랑기만 대대 거나 가리기 쳐왔나 그러니 삼바 연대 지종까지 쳐와샤가 말했어. 레벨에 야 된된 레벨 산지가 공부 토벨라 ninja 펜도이번 주바 연자 샘제 건데도 삼배 연때 랑기만 레벨에 연 된준벌 샘제 남랑아 연대요 대시대다 냐바예스 간제 산제랑 가서 산제게 jelangado 산제 샘제나 산제 공부 토야기 지 펜도시에 니바야와 나시 아니 샘제라 대요레스 정도 마토야 그러니 얘네 집어서라고요 말해서야.
In the 114, Shantideva is clarifying one point, saying, I'm not suggesting that the quality of the Buddha and the quality of the sentient beings are the same. I'm not telling that. I'm not saying that. I'm saying in terms of their effect or in terms of their contributions, they're doing pretty much equally. They're contributing equally for my enlightenment. So you have to remember that. I'm not suggesting the sentient beings and the Buddhas have the same quality.
가르나 먼저 니제다 샹접고 샘다 단소 샘절한테 제거를 뭐 산질한테 제거 말해 봐. 데려다 샘절에 같이 모르겠어. 산질에 티 랍자도 망가도 송샤여 봐. 샘절에 미니테 제거여 봐. 데려다 같이 모르겠어.
And usually when we practice compassion, loving kindness, we do so toward the sentient beings. We cannot do this toward the Buddha and the Buddha field. And therefore the sentient beings have a unique contribution to make for our enlightenment. And for the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they can teach us, they can bestow the knowledge to us, but then we really need the sentient beings to practice it. And because of that reality, we should really treat the sentient beings with great respect.
어디 다 졸로가 정하디 아니 샹섬 대만 줘봐가 되니 되는 샘진 쳐와니 산제 대비 소놈가 대한 산제 쳐와니 다들 샘진데 아니 가로다 가라서 샘진기 샴바도 니제 제사가 요레스 근데 인자 아니 콘도 페노 심보레스 산제데 가서 대화전에 소놈사다 신자 다 니자 지바레스 산제 도반도 얘네가 전에 얘네 잠좀 다 있는 산제도나 뭐냐면 산제도 선배 얘네가 전에 다 잠소다 추추니 지원나 예열해서 하는 거죠.
And then Shantideva gave further clarification regarding the regarding the qualities of the Buddha and the qualities of the sentient beings being different, but then both being equally important for our practices. And Shantideva said in this verse, I'm not suggesting that the Buddhas and the sentient beings are the same. Of course, the Buddhas, their realization and the quality is much higher, and the sentient beings are still in samsara. In terms of quality, of course, and the realization, I'm not suggesting they're the same. But what I'm saying is they're equally precious for our practices. Why? Because the sentient beings there for us to practice the dharmas that the Buddhas taught us. Without them being there, where are we going to practice the dharma? Where are we going to practice the patience? Without this, field of practices, how we are going to attain the realizations? And that's the, there's a differences between being equal and being equally effective. And you have to make this very clear.
다 자도 줍된데 줍진이로 하러.
되네 겨 주로 되세 겸어서.
아니 주로든으로 주로데 산제데 샘제데 샘제라면이 샴바 이제 제고 안 산지 도를 고백도 산제다 그러면은 산제라면이 대화 산제의 대회가 요소놈사베 신자 대라는 산지 도백도 되는 이제 주발에서.
And Surah 116 is toward the sentient beings we practice compassion and loving kindness. We gain this kind of realization. Toward the Buddha field, we accumulate merits, and therefore there's a little bit of distinction, but equally important for our enlightenment.
다 줍줍되니로 줍줍도 줍이 다 니주바로 하셔 이제.
Can you recite 16 to 18, please?
Therefore, they are asserted to be equal in the share they have in establishing the Buddha's qualities. They are not equal with the Buddhas who are boundless oceans of excellence. Even if the three realms were offered for the sake of venerating some person in whom a mere share of the good qualities of the unique assembly of supreme excellent qualities appears, it would be little. Thus, since sentient beings have a share in giving rise to the supreme qualities of the Buddhas, it is correct to venerate sentient beings due to similarity to just these.
Sambe yende 이거는 냐바 말해서 이나 자치지 띵파비 잠송다 산지다 산지게 yende 칸은 많냐마야 나양 아니 지 가로서 yende 다 줍된다 줍된 그래 예대 잠수 지우면서 대치 좋다도 용도 예대 자신 가시라 나네 때란 초도던 감선 부연 중에 저르스 다다래도 듣다도 용도 너도 돼. 근데자 가르나 예대 전에 주소 거 말다스. 그 예대 지금 전에 샘칭이 jel라야 산제도 예대 자세요. 산제 jel라요 완다 간지 닌자. 아니 다 소소라 펜토시바 지바래죠. 다 고된도 도동도 그러와.
네가 줍든 봐.
줍든시. 다 줍지고 지바는 그러셔.
줍게 지부도 그래. And then both the 17 and 18 have a similar meaning, basically saying that although the current qualities differ because the Buddhas already attain enlightenment, attain all the excellent qualities, the sentient beings are still working on them. But then the sentient beings also have the potential to attain the similar qualities as the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas do. And because of that, we also have to use that logic as a way to treat the sentient beings with great respect.
yende게 차지시나는 산지 yen데데 땅 감슴도 내봐나 그지 흉거 말이다 쓰지 나다 조금 말어 말 버려서 감슴 포양 중간이라스
no in a simple we have to do a deal this 교도소
그리고 샘칭이라 나서 산 샘칭이 나서 가지고 산지 토약이 가지 쪽지가 깬지가 그래서 같이 펜토가 그래서 이나 산지도 샘칭이 직발로 옛날에 yen데 가 로 말해 And here, so in the 117, Shantideva was clarifying to this person and saying that in terms of the qualities, the Buddha's quality is huge, it's incredibly mega that it cannot be measured in a single kind of space. Then equally, when we generate merit with the sentient beings, we generate merit through working with the sentient beings. We also equally create a lot of merit, and because of that, although they differ their current qualities, but to us they're both very important. 산제 추조 제위시 샘전하라 이번에 산제가 공부 토약이 이제 쇼식 샘전라 요와인다 아니 샘전라 기본체 초고를 해서
And then Shantideva also made one more point by saying that the sentient beings have the potential to really attain all the wonderful qualities that the Buddhas possess now. And you can use that as a reason to respect them, to treat them well.
그렇지. 다.
야도 죽으네 봐.
야도 죽으네 유쇼 딱지.
Can you read 119, 20, and 21st, please?
Furthermore, in what way is there to repay those without dissimulation who are a friend and grant immeasurable benefit other than by pleasing sentient beings? Because benefiting them will repay those who give up their holy bodies and enter relentless torment. Therefore, even if they cause me great harm, I shall behave impeccably in all. Because those who are my lords for the time being disregard even their own bodies, then why does the confused I act proud and not behave with the attributes of a servant towards them?
다 줍줍게가 아니 다 산제대 빼 무슨 가리 첨부 가리나 샘지 장자가 통산데 봐다 공도를 들려서야 제대 야 고도지라 공도 사요 말해서
Shantideva was giving more reasons that we should really treat the sentient beings well. And here in this, he's telling the person, we consider Buddha Shakyamuni and all the Buddhas are very kind to us. And because the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas purely live on the interest, live on the thought to really benefit all the sentient beings. And because of that, we said the Buddhas are great because they have nothing but to take care of the sentient beings. If you agree to that point, then you really have to take care of the sentient beings because the Buddhas really love the sentient beings and they really do anything to protect the sentient beings. And if you appreciate that, then you also have to take care of the sentient beings. By doing that, you're really being genuine about your affection to Buddhas and Bodhisattvas.
And then you should have Sanjay Jumni and Laminagaza, so that collision but mixing but Tendigo something much of a semji to the chairs. The day that Tendiches are semjin Telatan of the Kondosayo Martha.
The verse number 20, also similar point, saying that you remember Buddha Shakyamuni gone through a lot of sufferings to really help the sentient beings, even including sacrificing his own flesh for the sake of sentient beings. And this is how far he would go to take care of the sentient beings. And then not mention for us at the beginning practitioners, we really have to love the sentient beings because Buddha himself showed us how we should treat the sentient beings. And if we wanted to follow Buddha, we also have to treat the sentient beings well. And then in the 121st, Shantideva is advising that we shouldn't really feel arrogant against the sentient beings and disregard their interests. Can we have 22 to 25, please?
Because of their happiness, the Munis will be pleased, but if they are harmed, they will be displeased. By making them happy, I shall delight the Munis, and by harming them, I shall harm the Munis. Just as anything desirable would give my mind no pleasure if my body was ablaze with fire, likewise, when sentient beings are harmed, there is no way for the great compassionate ones to be pleased. Due to having harmed migrating beings, I have displeased the great compassionate ones. Therefore today I confess individually all my negativities. I request your forgiveness, Munis, for this displeasure I have caused. From now on, in order to delight the Tathagatas, I shall be subdued and be a servant to the world. Although many beings may kick and smash my head or kill me, I shall not retaliate, and may I delight the protectors of the world.
This is quite straightforward. Basically, Shantideva was saying there is no better way of pleasing Buddha than treating the sentient beings well. If you really treat the sentient beings well, Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas will be incredibly delighted.
Lila Medagana Kani Sawa Kalasona Kani Devayo Marwas. Today, that's Semja Gangala never cheat Dene Suti Susugada Chila Yeropanuchina, Sanchi Gayagi to your Maris.
Thank you. Thank you.
2 year Maris.
And then 23rd, Shantideva was saying that if you really got some kind of a burn on your skin, and then try to really enjoy other pleasurable experiences, it wouldn't happen because you still have the pain, right? You wouldn't feel whatever other things you do. You would not be able to take away your mind from that the pain. Likewise, when you inflict harms to the sentient beings, Buddha wouldn't be pleased. Therefore, you wouldn't be able to really accumulate merit. You wouldn't be able to please the Buddha. And for Buddha, treating the sentient beings is really important.
단유 탑시대 대외 다 컨트롤 내시베 두지에 금뭐 제제 저와강 대딕 대리 소소 샤브라지 메제 칼라 대요 잡아서 다 간지 야라라야 상제라지 마키와친 득바사야 나리 마셈자라 코로나 득바사나 강 저와다 조바치다 다 샤가 예스 고다가스.
And 24 is basically now making confession, and because you're making confessions to both the Buddhas and to the sentient beings, and saying, I confess all the the negative deeds that I engaged to displease the Buddha. I also confess all the negative deeds that displease the sentient beings.
Okay. 다 쇼로간이 니장을 놓어서 봐.
로사를.
네. 근데 다 니마 데리네 좀때 대제 샤남 제와 길레다 땡에 네툰 지텐 텐치 가로 텐치 로모도 바다 그 쇼본데 그장 모돈 지텐 거지다 다 니마 데리네 좀때 다 가지 산제야 제와 샘젤라야 펜도셔바 강어도 제기 있어라 다 요보주기 있어라.
And then in verse 25 we are making a pledge saying, from now on, we're going to please the Buddhas by whatever things that we have to do. We're going to take care of the sentient beings by whatever things that we have to do.
What? 다 니슈타도 sabdi sabje swago chilosdaro.
Can you read from 26 to 29, please?
There is no doubt that those with the nature of compassion regard all these migrating beings as themselves. These very ones seen in the entities of sentient beings are the protectors themselves. Why then do I not respect them? It delights the Tathagatas and perfectly accomplishes my own purpose as well. It dispels the suffering of the world. Therefore I should always practice it. For example, should even some of the king's men cause harm to many people, far-sighted men would not retaliate even if they were able to, for they are not alone. The might of the king is their might. Likewise, I should not underestimate weak harmers.
Okay? 다데 된대이다. 로바다 투지지나 다근도 됐으면 다 semjen다 간데나 투제 전부 산제 가로 니제 전부 제기 저 아니 산제 투니에게 저 야쇼데다 semjen에 맞아 다 내라 니마 되는도 돼 가디나 아니 기바당 아니 단 초바시기 있어요.
Verse 26 is basically we're making a pledge to please the Buddha and to really take care of the sentient beings, because now we realized our causes of the enlightenment is to please the Buddha first, secondly to really take care of the sentient beings. With these two causes we attain enlightenment. Because of that, we are not going to disrespect both the Buddhas and sentient beings.
단유 잡된데가 다 저에 배워서 봐. 대니 대제 셔바 녀제 다 산제 좀 되고 녀제 섬지게 되는 저 받으레스. 아란도 드제도 저거 받으레스. 지땡에 된다 저도 저거 받으레스 하는 거 봐. 아란도 양다 드진 되니도 지땡 동가서 안 되니. 대다 다가도 되니 샤스.
Then 27 is basically talking about the benefit of the practicing patience. Here, saying when you practice patience, you will please the Tathagatas. You will really please. You will also accomplish your own goals by pleasing the sentient beings and practicing the patience, you also would really create merit and so on. So there are so many benefits out of practicing patience.
다 아니 잡지에 빼송으로 빼나 아니 자부 요복하시고 아니 미 셴바서가 담매까지 누저들 지나 안들아 니바땅 땡이나 군주 니바땅 그 말해서 그러나 군주야 부자나 보상마땅 안 마서부터 자부가 깔아지네서 그러면 대신에 군주를 내가 되게 말해서 내가 전도 상지가 징이나 다 상지가 시 야보체사 그 삼질라 나와지요 말해서
Verse 28, Shantideva gives an example or analogy of where should we practice patience toward the sentient beings. He said, when you have this, when you encounter with this really naughty and harmful servant or the foot soldiers who are trying to inflict harm to you, but knowing the might or the mighty king's power, or people who are able to challenge these the foot soldier, they wouldn't do so because they knew behind these foot soldiers there were these kings, and if you provoke the anger at the foot soldiers, you also be having trouble with the king. Likewise, we shouldn't really. We shouldn't get back to the sentient beings who were inflicting harm to us out of confusion. Because if we take revenge on them, we will be displeasing the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas. And thinking that way, we should practice patience.
당도 간으로
이자고
주자고 로사르와 대다 자체다로 다때는 건 lap서서 대다 내가 뭐지 봐대 아니 자부 가서 묻지보도 말했어 아니 자부는 들었더니 자부 야부 제사 밑에 인자 아니 디 롬보도야 거기서 니바샤 땅거 말했어 그 자부 야부 제사 밑에 인자 그러나 산지가 야부 제사 밑에 내서 내다 지금 마인지 자부는 대유 뽕스 대신 내지 뇽셔봐 잡어서 가래 거기서 제소 제가 말아왔어 제가 야부 못해서 가나 그 자부 밑에 거기서 자부 야부 제가서 거기서 롬보도 거기서 두자 제소 제가 말했어 그래서 다 단지
So 29 is also a continuation from 28. We would a wise person would not attack a individual who is favored by the king or by ministers, because if you do that, you'll be creating conflict with more powerful people. Likewise, the sentient beings are the favorite subject of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and therefore we shouldn't really inflict harm on them. It would only create tension between me and the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas if we harm the sentient beings.
Okay, 다 숨쳐 담반이 숨쳐 소시 발록셔로.
Can you read from 30 to 34, please?
For the guardians of hell and the compassionate ones are their army. Just as subjects behave towards a fierce king, I should please sentient beings. Even if such a king were to become angry, could he cause the harm of hell, which is what I would have to experience by displeasing sentient beings. And even if such a king were to be displeased, how could it not possibly grant me Buddhahood, which is what I would obtain by pleasing sentient beings, let alone my future attainment of Buddhahood, which comes from pleasing sentient beings. Why do I not see that there will be great glory, fame, and happiness in this very life? While in cyclic existence patience causes beauty, freedom from sickness and pain, because of these I shall live for a very long time, and with the prosperous pleasures of the wheel-turning kings.
Okay, finish. 다 가지 다들만 집발하셔야 돼. 그 시리니까 잠고 치료. 로 가지 편로 편 전보레스. 아니 가지 편 전보인 바치 맞게다 가지 산제게 샴보셰사 샘젤라 아니 샴보체와나 소소라 편 전보 도그래. 근데 다 된지가 산제도 샘진이게 산제가 편 가로 다 집안다가 샘진대서 대화다 담바 둥어도 잡아 아니 된지 용하기 아니 펜도 용하기 아니 소소한 선배 semjagaga ani tsirimpo nemewa loja toba shows tam manam rawa jagiro.
And we do not need to go individually on these remaining verses because they're pretty much straightforward and saying that by treating well the sentient beings, so many good will come out of it. Will please the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. It will shorten our, it will swiftly attain our enlightenment. And also, by practicing patience, we also gain more while we are in the samsara, such as long life, freedom from sickness, and so on, which is talking about the benefit of the practicing patience. And because of all these reasons, we should engage in the practice of the patience.
Okay, then last word. Ma tachida karo shanchu shobala jiba zawate melegate trupa gos.
No.
Shanchu sembe shobala jiba.
Oh, dinamindo.
Minde. What they don't have?
So there's a last sentence in Tibetan version, which is not here, is saying the chapter on the practice of the patient is completed. As an auspicious ceremony, I'm going to read from the beginning a little bit. This is what we do always when we teach. We go back to the beginning of this teaching.
Kawatumdo soba yejenda deshe choloso leje kan kono chukon jumbaji. Shedanta ye dewa me zabate be katame dewa zalane noto tsujil gombra sha. Shedan sungi simjena yenda shaba nyamanya gada dewa tomanya nima onshi temanjer kandang nodan kede tenji dewa jo teda jenya dewa jo dewa jo jepon laso gobra so tiyan zashi jenje ba jembe dijang temre sha. Nonan true tene ba tiyagan yomaye laso. Okay, it's complete. It's grateful. From my side also very great opportunity to discussion this. Also my motivation is pretty clear. I have not some bad thoughts or maybe people think I'm the teaching something, I'm the teacher something like that. Nothing. I'm just very simple. Also I received this teaching for his own Dharma many times. Also another my gurus, unbroken lineage. Even if we don't know that, we have some lineage blessing for we get. Therefore, definitely we have not easy, but everybody to effort, we get a lot of merit. Then I believe. Then also, all of you also, I know long term, couple times. Very serious students. So thank you. We all very enjoy today. And especially our translator Tenzin Gelek is always support us. He's a very busy person, but he just give up. He come to us. Therefore, from my side, from Shantideva Center, we all thank you for you all the time help for us. Then we hope also you help for future. For continue and achieve enlightenment for all of us. Anyway, it's very kind. Thank you for you. Then also the volunteers, the students, all of you. Thank you. This is a very you serve the Shantideva Center. You serve the Lord Buddha's caring Buddha's teaching. Then you take caring Buddha's teaching. You serve all sentient beings. This help for other beings, not necessary to go to outside to have some help. Because you have like there can community here. Many people get chance to come here to study. Join you guys with pujas. Therefore very grateful. Then who the voluntary here, when you serve the center, you also serve the His Holiness Dalai Lama, Lama Sabaramachi. Not necessary to go with them. Therefore thank you for all of you. I'm very grateful. I can see every time that many people's face same, like they're all voluntary all the time. Therefore, everyone, thank you so much. I'm very happy. Please do continue. Then any time, I try to also my best. Then we will do this community, try to grow up more and more help for others. For like that, then we are very great. Then however we create the merits, we dedicate for long life His Holiness Dalai Lama, Lama Sabaramche, all the holy gurus, and also particularly for the Nepal yesterday. Now they said 2,000 people lost their life. This just basically maybe more than. They were very sad situation. Also a lot of people going through there, a lot of sufferings. They lose a house, they lose family members. It's very bad now. How can we do? We dedicate for them to also who really die and rebirth human being, perfect human being. The who go through that all the sufferings also karata dungas gange dol patra and so devana jintovegi mulam japsro.
Basically we pray for all the sentient beings to overcome all the obstacles and for them to attain full enlightenment and so on.
Then particularly for who have the connection with the Shantideva center, FPMT center, for who have the connection, they all them to whatever they wish to come. Then also, then however all who live in New York City, they all beings also whatever they wish, whatever their good wishes, not bad wishes, to come. Then for all of us also, we are try to better practice, the better patient person, try to help for more others, also try to more importance for develop for our practice, for more develop. This is more important. When we have more developed practice, then we can also teach for others. Because 10 people good, then 10 people teach 10 people. Then 100 people teach 100,000. Slowly. We cannot finish at one time. Just even one person good, he teach maybe 10 people. 10 people, maybe 5 good, like that. Therefore, everyone try to more patient, develop. It's try to how much you can. Also, very important, don't push too much. Sometimes Westerns are very exciting, they try to very strong push. It's not good. Then you really lose your energy. Therefore, slowly, don't stop. Some people will not study a couple months and then say, okay, I'm done. Buddhism doesn't work. Some people couple months, then a couple years, then stop. Not like that. Continue, slowly. More analytical meditation. Okay? Like that. Okay, then you recite some dedication prayers. Thank you so much.
Dedication prayer chapter 11. Due to the merits
Of the three terms, Buddhahood, and believing without exception into that enlightened state, may Supreme Jewel Bodhicitta that has to arise and grow. Due to the merit of the 3 times collected by me, Buddha, Bodhisattvas, and all other sentient beings, which are totally non-existent from their own side, may I, which is also totally non-existent from its own side, achieve Guru Shakyamuni Buddha's enlightenment, which is also totally non-existent from its own side, and lead all sentient beings who are totally non-existent from their own side to that enlightenment, which is totally non-existent from its own side, by myself alone, who is also totally non-existent from myself.
For His Holiness the Dalai Lama.
Singam, Nandana, Chu, Tenzin Gelek, Geshe Tenley,
Savior, who extensively clarifies the path that unifies emptiness and compassion. To the lotus of the hand, Lord Tenzin Gelek, I beseech, may all your holy wishes be fulfilled. And for Lama Zopa Rinpoche, you who uphold the subduer's moral way, who serve as the bountiful bearer of all, sustaining, preserving, and spreading Manjunath's victorious doctrine, who masterfully accomplish magnificent prayers honoring the three jewels, Savior of myself and others, your disciples, please, please live long.
Menze we di jin jeresi te me gembe bo jambe ya dun ju manis jun sun zonga ba lo san ta be sha